Like it.
Welcome back to Franchising Stronger Together. I'm your host, Red Boswell, president of the International Franchise Professionals Group, IFPG. We're here today to hear from great leader in franchising, Mr. Jeff Oddo. Jeff is CEO and founder of CityWide Franchising. Jeff, welcome to the call today.
Thanks for having me, Red. Looking forward to spending time together.
Man, I've been looking forward to doing this interview with you for a while. We love CityWide, such a cool, unique concept. So as we talk about today, how your organization has been impacted, how you've responded, any advice you can share with franchisors out there. Before we start, to put it in perspective, help us understand, you know what I was going to say, help us understand everything about CityWide. But the most important thing first, we got priorities here. How are you? How's the family? You holding up well?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, actually, thank God, knock on wood, we've been good. Family's good, extended and immediate family, everybody has been healthy. We live in the Midwest, Kansas City. Thank God it's been pretty good here. So we're all good. And you guys?
Couldn't be better. Yeah. Don't tell anybody, but I'm in the office.
Okay.
So, all right, CityWide, help us understand more about what you do, how you do it, size of the organization, et cetera.
So we've got 65 franchisees, and we'll do about $370 million in revenue this year. If you take out those franchisees and their starting first 12 months, our average franchisee does over $5 million in revenue. We have really good margins. Our gross margins are very good. We're effectively a sales and management organization. So we don't provide any of the services ourselves. We provide more than 20 different facility maintenance services to commercial properties. So anything from lawn and landscaping to roofing to lighting, parking lot sweeping and striping, and anything in the interior from janitorial services to carpet cleaning to painting, you name it. We do any facility maintenance service for commercial properties.
And how long has CityWide Franchising been around?
I founded it in 2001. CityWide Maintenance has been in business since 1961. My father started it, and then I started franchising the concept. I changed the concept from a janitorial company in the early 90s, and then we started franchising the sales and management concept of doing all the facility maintenance solutions in 2001.
Okay, so I'm real curious. My hunch is you're doing pretty good during this time. I mean, help us understand, how have you been impacted through this COVID-19 crisis?
Yeah, again, knock on wood, thank God, it's been record month to month to month. And so we are down across the board on average 18% in our contract revenue, but our non-contract revenue, all the extra charge work, all of the sanitization and the touch point cleaning and the disinfecting. And so let's just use round numbers, say 20% of our customers are gone, retail or restaurants or shopping centers, those kind of things. If 20% of the businesses are closed, the 80% that's open, it requires an additional sanitation and disinfecting services. And so those additional services has far exceeded, for the most part, on average, our revenues and profits across the board. So we're very thankful that we're not reliant on one or two services. We've always referred to ourselves as a super franchise concept. Instead of making money in one service, with 25 plus 20, more than 20 different services, you can really change your game around and provide a lot of different solutions to our commercial properties.
All right, let's talk your franchisees. Have you seen any significant changes? Now, you just shared that although the contract revenue is down, they're focusing on the unique services that are needed during this time. Any franchisees just gone, when McDonald's, one of their franchisees came up with the Happy Meal. I mean, that was off the reservation. What are you thinking? Anybody done something like that? And then you turn around and go, hey, now, love that.
Well, nothing equivalent to the Big Mac, but there have been several examples where franchisees I think in all brands, but including ours as well, the franchisees, the thought leaders out there, if you do a good job of surrounding yourself with good franchise owners, they should be the leaders of a lot of these ideas and come up with it. They're the ones doing the work. They're the ones talking to the clients. They're the ones that are in the field. And so should we support them at the franchise home office? Absolutely, we should. But a lot of the best ideas are coming from the franchisees in our system and all systems. And so some of the things that I see some of the people doing is historically selling supplies is one of the things that we've always done. And it might have been 9% of our business.
They're actually selling various cleaning type supplies to your clients,
Right,
to their clients. Okay.
right. But now, as you know, we've got a direct resource for gloves and for masks and for disinfectants. And so what you see is a switch of, instead of the salespeople going out knocking on doors and calling on people to try to bid on existing services, they have reinvented the sales force to go out and sell supplies to those who are in need of those types of PPE products. They've also done an amazing job of changing from, so I'll give you an example, is we have historically have not done subways or trucks, individual trucks or commercial vehicles. But a lot of the franchisees are like, boy, this trucking and shipping, they got to stay in business. So what if we were to provide the sanitation products and services and sprays to those individual vehicles or to those individual carts or those individual places where the people are, to be able to keep trucking, shipping, manufacturing, and distribution open? And so we've got this whole new thing of people going out there and actually tackling one-off things rather than just focusing on the commercial property. So there's lots of things like that I'm amazed every day with the ideas and suggestions that collectively people come up with.
Okay, Jeff. So franchisee says, hey, we're doing more on the trucking side. How are they getting that word out to the whole network? And what are you, the franchisor, doing to help facilitate that? Let's talk communication, timelines, technology, all around that.
Yeah, it is changing a little bit. In the beginning, it was much more, we have scaled it back a little bit, but we started out, let's just talk about for 8 weeks, we were doing 3 days a week COVID-19 calls. And so that was an opportunity for all the franchisees to get on. We have several different leaders. So we put together a COVID-19 task force like everybody else did, but we put together 2 main task force leaders. And so Project Lemonade is, the same, get lemon, so turn it into lemonade. So we've created a task force to be able to say, what can we do right now? What's the most important things that we can do right now to reinvent ourselves? And so we put one person on charge of that, and he was reporting 3 days a week to the team on what he's learning and best practices and sharing all of those ideas and suggestions from other franchisees. And then Project Tidalwave. So we're all about the ripple and making a difference, positively impacting the lives of as many people as we can. So we took that idea and we said, let's take Project Tidalwave and be able to turn that ripple into a tidal wave, so that when this is all over, what can we truly do to come out of this and hit the ground running and truly differentiate ourselves from the competition? And so what you saw is us having some operational day-to-day focus meetings on today and the future. And then I was having weekly meetings with the CEOs, and we would get together and we talk about cash flow as an organization, and we talk about sales results and even royalties and royalty. I mean, in the beginning, you can imagine how concerned everybody was going to be with our ability to collect money from our customers and how many of our customers will we lose. And so we did a really good job of my opinion, we did a really good job of instantly trying to say, hey, the last thing you should be worrying about right now is contractual obligations. So we have system standards that require franchisees to do A, B, C, and D. And so 50% of the system standards, we sat down with the leadership. We got rid of 50% of the system requirements, said, don't worry about any obligations with us. These 50%, you focused on surviving, taking care of the customers. Our system standards are indefinitely on hold. We'll do a royalty deferment. We'll do a marketing deferment. We'll do a technology deferment. And so these were the kind of conversations that I was having with the franchise owners on a weekly basis, while the operational leaders were focusing on day-to-day results, and then, of course, what we're going to do when we get out of this.
So how many have taken, maybe you just automatically did it for everybody, or I don't know if it was
Yeah.
optional, but how many have actually said, yeah, I'll take the royalty deferment. We're doing better
Uh,
than ever, but we'll take it.
right. Good question. I wish I would. I can tell you how many took it this month, which was 4. And so what we did is we said that in the beginning, everybody was given the option to take it. But I did say that there would be a 5% interest. If you take the money, then when you start paying it back in 6 months, there will be a 5% because I, unlike any other organization, I don't care how big you are, even PE firms, you're limited by your capital and your time. There's only so much of those two resources to go around. And so I said, I need you to save that money for next month because we have no idea how bad it's going to go. So everybody can have it this first month, but just know that if you take it, there'll be a 5% interest because for obvious reasons.
And how fast would they need to pay it back? What's the structure there?
We gave them 6 months to before they had to start paying it back, and then they were given 6 months to pay it back in full. So they were given 1 full year to make us whole on those deferments.
And do they get to choose how and when they pay it back after that 6 months, or is it maybe just, okay, your royalties are doubled plus the 5%
If
each?
they paid it back within the first, I forget, 60 days, then there would be no interest fees. But otherwise, it was start in 6 months, and then you pay back 1/6 for 6 months. You could pay it back at any time with no penalties.
Are your royalties paid monthly, weekly, biweekly? How does that work?
Monthly.
Monthly?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Easy math. Boy, I'd hate to be a mom and pop right now. Without the support and the guidance and the best practices and the accountability and the financial strength of a franchisor. That's where we actually got the title here, Franchising Stronger Together. We're all sharing, like you are sharing best practices of what you and your organization have learned and are doing. I mean, this franchisor is listening right now going, okay, wow. So he did charge 5%. He deferred it, and then only 4%. That's good to hear what others are doing. So thank you for sharing this. Jeff, what about franchise development? How do you see that? How has that played out? And as I always say, there's 2 pieces we're interested in. What has happened to the franchisees that were already in process when this whole crisis hit? What has happened to them? We can talk about did they change financing? Did they go ahead and close? Are they on pause? Or it's probably a mixture. And then we'll talk about new pipeline.
Yeah. So the existing ones, we had, I'll say it this way, 67% of them have actually closed. So it has not stalled us at all. We have 33% of the latest pipeline report who are, I would say stalled. I think that it's a mixture of whether or not they are getting scared and having cold feet or change of plans, or they just really are, need a little bit more time. But 67% of the deals that we had in the pipeline are done, they're closed, and that's, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, is fantastic.
That is fantastic. How would that compare to a normal percentage?
Oh, yeah. I would say it's probably pretty similar. I
Yeah.
think that was really my point, I guess, is that we haven't seen people freaking out and leaving in a hiatus of running for the doors. In reality, to your second part of your question, it's been, our pipeline's better than it's ever been. And so by far and away, we've have more leads, territory checks from brokers, and organic leads through LinkedIn or Facebook. Opportunities. We've got more people in the pipeline than we've ever had, and not even close to any other time in our history.
That is very encouraging, my friend. This past Friday, I hosted an IFA webinar, and right as it started, I got a report in of our territory checks. Now, with 570 consultants, territory checks are certainly a precursor to a candidate being introduced and ultimately a deal. So it's not money in the bank, but it's a predictor of that money in the bank, and change lives through the process. I like to track a kind of a half month at a time and see how those territory checks are comparing. And we looked at the last 15 days of April, which wasn't that long ago, and comparing it to the other 15-day segments through this year. So taking that average and then comparing that 15 days, we were up 36%.
Wow.
Very encouraging.
It is, and it's no wonder, really. I mean, you mentioned earlier about how hard it would be to be a small independent, and I think to myself, I mean, you are 100% right. We are actually trying to do a marketing campaign right now to reach out to the independents to be able to say, are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling like you can't keep up with all of these things? And would you like to have a partner? And so I think a lot of the franchise concepts should have a great opportunity to go out and do an acquisition or a conversion program, or to be able to touch those smaller competitors and try to roll them up into it. So we're talking about, to our team, it shouldn't just be our customers. Obviously our customers are very important, but I actually want our prospects to be hearing from us more, substantially more than they're hearing from their own vendors. Right.
Nice.
So if we're doing janitorial services and we touch our customers once a week, I'm making it up. I want the prospects to be hearing from us 2 and 3 and 4 times as much as they're hearing from their vendors. But it's not just customers and prospects, it's the competitors as well. If we can create a drip campaign to the competitors that talk about what we're doing and how we're doing it and how can we help you, I think it's a matter of time. We might not get them today or tomorrow, but I suspect it's just a matter of time when they remember that CityWide was helping them through some of these difficult times, that they pick up the phone and say, hey, I appreciate you guys being there and helping, and I'm interested in coming on board or selling or merging or whatever it is. So it's a great opportunity for franchise concepts in the service world to pick up a lot of competitors, because I imagine they're going to struggle and fail.
So you talked, Jeff, about conversions. I love that model, conversions from a mom and pop to your brand. Have you done that at all in the past, or is this something new to this crisis?
Brand new. So we have never done a conversion yet, but we are actively working on it right now. We actually have put a full-time person on it. They say put your best people on your greatest opportunities. And I moved a wonderful lady over to this. And so for us, to have a full-time dedicated person doing conversions for our size team is a commitment. But I really do believe that you're going to see a lot of these small players looking for. Our technology is amazing. They can't invest in our technology and our marketing campaigns and our legal compensation and our operational manuals and the SEO platforms and the online training, all of those kind of things. Man, if they were struggling with keeping up with it, with the pace of business before COVID-19, and they were struggling with paying their bills and being profitable before, I can't imagine what it's going to do to them afterwards.
Agreed, 100%. I love the idea of the conversion model and how to put the deal together. Have you got all the details of that yet? I mean, man, we don't have an hour to talk about it, but at a high level, you've got a pseudo competitor, somebody, a mom and pop in the industry that's doing, your average is over 5 million now. They're doing 2 million. Yeah. And you convert them on. How are you handling the current, boy, this is off topic, but I just love the idea of, so you got 2 million sudden revenue. Are they paying royalties on that? Or is that kind of grandfathered out of the royalty stream? Or maybe you are giving them a reduced royalty for a certain amount of time, or maybe you gave them no charge of the franchise fee, since the royalty revenue will cover that fee. Lots of ways to structure it. Do you have any insights on how y'all plan on doing that?
Okay, well, first of all, let me go on the record and say I'm not an expert in conversions. So anybody who's watching this who is an expert and be willing to share some ideas with me, please call me. But I will tell you, Red, we've done a lot of research, and so I think that the franchise fee has to be discounted. I mean, the franchise fee is for us to teach people how to really get into the business and to share all those resources and best practices and our processes and systems. But I think it should be discounted because they already know much about the business. And so, but I do think that if somebody has $1 million or $2 million in revenue, I think that they should pay royalties on that revenue, because we're going to make that business more profitable, and we're going to help them grow that business. So right now, what we are doing is 2% on their existing business.
Royalty.
Uh-huh. So, and
how's that compared to normal?
5%. Okay. So, on $1 million, they're going to pay us $20,000 in the first year. if we're not worth $20,000 of consulting services to make that business more profitable, we should close our doors. So at 2% is a no-brainer on $1 million, 20,000, and we provide you all of this new stuff.
Sure.
And then year 2, it'll go to 3%, and then year 3, it goes to 5%. So the full royalties. And so I think it's a fair way to be able to do it, and that's how we are phasing it in. We don't want to devalue our brand or devalue our services or sell ourselves short, and so they need to pay something for it in order to feel like they're getting something out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for letting me chase that rabbit down that trail. That's a fascinating topic, and certainly one that a lot of franchisors are considering and needing some insight on how to do that. And there's a lot of ways to skin that cat. So you're keeping it simple, and have set some nice parameters around how those conversions should work from a financial standpoint. Jeff, so as we wrap up, any other stories of triumph or recommendations, advice, maybe predictions, anything else you can share?
Well, I'm a very optimistic person. I believe in optimism and the glass being half full. I'm scared to death about a recession, though. You can't have $30 trillion in debt. And so my best advice to franchisors is to proceed with caution. And although CityWide is doing really, really well right now, I need to make sure that my team realizes that we can't rest on our laurels and assume that this is going to continue to just continue to get better and better and better. Taxes are going to go way up. And so if we're making $100 today and bringing home whatever it is, our take-home pay is going to be dramatically impacted by the trillions of dollars in debt that the government is in. And so my advice to my own people and to anybody else is that I would take advantage of this pandemic to reinvent yourself. And one of the best articles I read through this whole thing was McDonald's took advantage of this to change some rules with their customers and their franchisees that they didn't like. So, for example, just very quickly, their breakfast meal went on all day and they weren't making any money, and so out of it. And so they did away with it. The way I interpreted the article is they said, we're no longer serving breakfast after 11 o'clock. And they changed all these other things. And so what can we as franchisors to be able to do to be able to go back and say, from now on, we made some bad deals. Pre-pandemic, we did this, and that. But going forward, when we reopen our doors, there's a new sheriff in town and the following changes are in place. And we have made some changes ourselves. And so I would encourage you to really be thinking about what changes can you truly make to put yourself in a better position to win long-term rather than just continue to do business the way that you've always done it.
Jeff, I'm never going to forget Project Lemonade, Project Tidalwave. Great branding on that. And it's one of those names you won't forget, and very appropriate names. Franchising Stronger Together. Your host, Fred Boswell with IFPG. And we have heard some great wisdom advice from our friend Jeff Oddo, founder, CEO of CityWide Franchising. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you so much.
Thanks, Fred. Have a great day.
I need another cup of coffee, don't I?
It's all good.